McCrispy strips are now at McDonald's. Tender, juicy, and its own sauce. Would you look at that? Well, you can't see it, but trust me, it looks delicious. New McCrispy strips, now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command. Like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This episode brought to you by the following patrons: Heather, Leaf Girl, Min, Jason, Madeline, Alyssa, Vixen, Holly, Laura, Jeremy with the laser eyes, Allie, Logan, Kristen, Tia, and Jonathan. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome horror virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the Facebook group where we'll be talking about the best Terminator daily.
It took me essentially a full work day to make a 4-hour drive because I spent 3 of those hours sitting less than an hour from my destination while the entire freeway burned. And I was like, should I be driving here? Like, I know the cops are saying go, but like...
Were the cops saying go, or were the cops saying, like, get the fuck out of here? No! What are you doing? Why are you even here right now?
It's just like the soundtrack of Vietnam, just like...
You mean it's any TCR song?
Yeah, any Creedence Clearwater about just some guys aboard to wear the flag. Yeah, like,
it's just Fortunate Son on a loop, but instead of Vietnam, it's just like helicopters taking barrels of water and dropping it on like a field next to Paige.
Yeah, just like a random section of I-5 right outside Santanella.
I love that Sublime song. I don't practice Santarella. I don't burn up on the street.
It's okay. I don't practice Santanella. I don't eat Anderson's peas, which is only a joke for those of you who've driven at I-5 and know that there is a historical landmark, Pea Soup Anderson's, in Santanella. It's the only thing there. That and a cool hotel that looks like an old church.
God damn it. If you had said it looked like an old pea, I'd have lost my mind.
No, but that'd be weird. It'd either be very yellow and you'd be like, are they dehydrated? Or
it would definitely, hopefully, be a green round thing. If it's the other kind of pea, it's not a hotel, it's a waterfall.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
What are we talking about? We're here to talk about T2. Paige, I demand
we
you
haven't
start
started the episode yet, Todd. Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
And I'm your Horror Virgin, Todd, which means I don't like scary movies and you guys make me watch them. And this week, Paige didn't make us watch them because we are celebrating what kind of is just like grad bag month. Like, I don't know. You're just like picking whatever movie you want and I'm here for it. But we did Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. This has been a month of like things that we wanted to get to but couldn't, things we were waiting for them to go to streaming, you know, like a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to try to get you to go see Sinners since overwhelmingly people want us to do it as soon as possible.
You say it like I don't want to also see it.
I know you do. No. Yeah. It's not that you don't want to. It is more that your schedule does not permit.
Man, June, I got 2 more trips for work. I literally leave tomorrow. I got to get up at, no joke, my Uber is here to pick me up at 4:25 a.m. tomorrow morning to take me to Seattle. I come back from Seattle. A week later, I go to Palm Springs, California.
Oh, hey.
And then June 1st, I come back and I don't travel again until like June 20th. Boom. Almost 3 weeks in town. Nailed it.
That's nice for you. I'm in the Bay right now. I'm in Austin next week. Then I have 2 weeks where I don't travel. But then I am in Denver, then a mystery trip that is waiting to be confirmed, then Chicago, and then potentially Japan again, depending on if things work out.
Is that like your travel the rest of the year?
That's my travel through September.
Yeah, my travel was through the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
We both travel a lot. Paige, when was the first time you saw Terminator 2?
I want to say I was actually a teenager.
I mean, fully same for me. Like, there is not a memory I have that I did not know Terminator 2 existed and had watched it.
Sure.
Like, I saw it so early. Yeah, same.
Well, and I definitely rode the ride at Universal Studios and all this stuff.
I did not.
I rode the ride before I saw the movie, for sure.
Yeah, I liked it before it was cool too, Paige. I rode the ride before.
It was one of the first CG, like VR rides at an amusement park. It's like one of the first ones outside of Star Tours.
That does not surprise me. Just because, like, even for 91, I mean, shit, some of these effects still look pretty great.
They still look pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
This came out when I was a child, but I was too young to see it when it came out.
Same, yeah.
And I think my parents probably wanted me to see the first one before I saw this one. But I remember loving the first one. The first one is one of my favorite movies of all time. Not ashamed to say it. Shout it from the rooftop.
Why would you be ashamed to say that, like, T1 is so good?
Because everyone likes this one better.
Like, I mean, okay.
And I do not.
Okay.
Like, markedly do not. I love it. It's a great movie. It is not better than the first one, in my opinion, personally.
I gotta fully disagree with you on that. But, although I'll say I put them at the same level. To me, they're very different movies.
I'll accept that. Yeah, they're very different movies.
Like, T1 is very much like a slasher almost.
Yes, yeah.
Which I really love, and this is going to sound insane, the intimate nature of T1. It is like...
Yes.
T1, it is Arnold versus Sarah Connor, more or less.
That is part of what I miss, honestly, from the subsequent films.
Yeah,
but yes.
It's great. And she's not quite the badass she is in this movie. I mean, she is a badass, but she is not like militant badass that she is in this movie. And then this movie is just like the action movie version of Terminator, except the drama triangle shifts and Arnold goes from persecutor to protector as T-1000 comes on the scene.
Which I do love.
Me too. I thought that shit was dope. I love that switch.
I think the T-1000's a fantastic villain. I think it's one of the scariest villains in film history.
Yes.
I think they do it great. I think the T-1000 captures something that they wanted to capture with the T-100 in the original Terminator and ended up not. And that was to have him be more of a blending in face in the crowd as opposed to a muscle man.
I mean, he's literally any face in the crowd. He might not even be a face in the crowd, Paige. He might be the floor you're walking on so that he can figure out how to create an exact replica of you so that after you win a full house on your coffee cup, he can stab you through the face. Like, it is a terrifying, like, power to be up against. Like, that's so scary.
And he's whatever he wants to be. He's a knife. It's great. That's great. Those are not my notes for this movie. I think all of that is awesome. I also love, and I think I did not appreciate this as much the first time I watched it when I was much younger, but in subsequent viewings, I really do appreciate the reality with which they treat Sarah Connor, because so many movies have somebody see something fantastical and then they defeat it and then they just go back to their regular life. And it's like,
oh no, she's in an insane asylum.
She is a shattered woman.
Yeah. Honestly, it's terrible that she's there, and like, I feel bad for her, obviously, because we know she's not crazy. But like, if someone came in yelling about that, you would be like, oh my God, this person has lost their mind. Isn't this so sad? We should take care of them. Like,
yes,
Dr. Silverman is a monster, and I love that he gets to see that she was right the whole time, and he doesn't die. He gets to live with the shame of involuntarily helping machine defeat man for the rest of his days. And I like that for him.
I think he's one of a very small handful of people who are in like the max amount of Terminator sequels you can physically be in, because much like the Halloween franchise, Terminator veers off into different like timelines, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah. Which, like, this is the perfect movie to have multiple timelines in. Or, I mean, franchise, not necessarily movie. Sorry.
It's built for it. Yes. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, these two, obviously, the T1 and T2, exist in tandem. There's a closed loop. There's not holes in the timeline. It all works. And in part, I think that's because it's Cameron's vision. once we get past T2, things get a little murky. There are some sequels I prefer more than others, even if they're not good. I kind of appreciate what they did story-wise in some cases. There are some that are direct sequels to this and others that are direct sequels to the first and not this.
Interesting.
Which I think is awesome. And then there's the like fan fiction script I have written in my head, which is a sequel to 1 and not 2. And anyway.
Is that the one where John Connor has to go back in time and like step into Lincoln's booth at Ford's Theater and convince him to take his own life? Oh, sorry. That was Final Destination. My bad.
That was Final
My
Destination.
bad.
Yeah. But it's really cool when the T-1000 is just a log on that truck and then just like,
oh my God, if one of the logs just became like a metal knife and Paige, I don't know if you heard yourself say it, but the line I think is going to be the opening quote for this movie is going to be, and at any point he can turn his body into a knife.
Yeah.
Like that shit made me laugh when you said it earlier. Cause like 100% that is accurate. And it just made me laugh.
he's made of knife. It's great.
He's made a knife. It makes the sex difficult and painful, but like he's made a knife and it can be as big as you want it to be.
As big as you want, and it's always sharp.
Wouldn't you prefer it to be dull? I don't mean like sandpaper dull, but you wouldn't want it to be sharp.
Oh, no. I mean, like, yeah, like for sex, you definitely want it to be dull. For knifing, sharp.
Yeah. If you're having sex for pleasure, then it's like dull. But if it's like self-defense
Right.
sex, then it's knife.
If I'm like making a sandwich,
Oh.
sharp. For knifing.
Paige, now I'm just picturing you using Arnold's dick to cut a sandwich in half in your kitchen.
Yeah, of course. It's just like, hey, it's like when Bucky puts his arm in the dishwasher. You get it.
How light is the arm? Like if you take,
It's pretty hefty.
Yeah, there's no way you could put that in a dishwasher.
Well, it depends on if you have like a Stark brand dishwasher. I'm pretty sure,
Man, there's a reason those universes are boring, and it's that just anything can happen and nobody has consequences and oof magoof.
Oof magoof. Much like this universe, the further you get into the sequels. But the thing that doesn't work super well in this movie for me, and it is definitely a product of its own time, and that is all of the scenes of like getting Arnold to learn slang and hi-fi.
Yes.
That I could leave at the door. And I know that it's because this was 1991. This was the era of the action movie, and they were marketing action movies to children.
Yeah.
And that is, this was a movie they expected children to see.
I mean, this is not the only other one.
The 90s were fucked up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Last Action Hero is another one that Arnold was in.
I do love Last Action Hero.
I mean, of course, who doesn't like it? But like Arnold wasn't the only one making those kinds of movies. Like there are a lot of like action movies in the 90s that were geared towards kids.
Yeah, and things have changed over time because I feel like Marvel movies are also marketed to children, which is why they're not as bloody and there's no sex in them. But in the 90s, it was the opposite. It was like, it's still going to be bloody. There's still going to be sex. There's still going to be swearing, but kids are going to fucking love this shit, right? Never forget that they made Alien Queen toys for children. For children. The late 80s and early 90s were a fucking wild time.
It was a weird time to grow up. I didn't hate it.
It was a weird time to grow up. That's the only part that doesn't really vibe for me. Now, however, and this is a controversial opinion, I don't mind expressing it here because I don't anticipate us going through the rest of the Terminator sequels. They are not beloved except by me, and that's fine.
Paige, I think not that we do them, I'm not saying that.
Sure.
I've never seen a Terminator movie that I disliked. I have definitely liked them less than the first two.
Sure.
But I've always been like, all right, that's cool. It's interesting. That's an interesting way to take it. And they're not bad movies. Like I've seen bad movies.
They could be way worse. Yeah. I would call them middle of the road.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
It's no one's favorite, but it's as opposed to something like an Alien Romulus, where I came out of that being like, fuck yeah. Like, yes!
Yeah, I have definitely never come out of a Terminator sequel post Terminator 2 and been like,
right,
man, I cannot wait to see the next one. I've always come out and been like, it was a movie, and I like the Terminator franchise, so I'm glad we got more IP in that franchise, so that's great, but like, whatever.
I genuinely like where they take the story in 3, and 3 is probably one of the most hated. I don't know if people hate 3 or 5 more. I like both for different reasons. 3 is John after Sarah's death and she dies of like fucking cancer, like just a regular thing people die from. and buries a coffin full of guns as a decoy.
No, I remember
because
that.
even in death, Sarah's a fucking lit badass.
Yeah.
And we follow like all of John's like middle school and high school friends, because the implication is like after the events of this movie, she ends up rearrested, basically. Like she ends up back either on the run in Mexico or in facilities for the rest of her life, because that's what would happen.
Right.
And he ends up going to middle school and high school as a normal kid and makes friends with a group of people who in the future would become his generals as John Connor, machine master.
Right.
And so they start picking off the generals. But what I love is that movie takes us literally up to the launch of Cyberdyne and reveals they just can't fucking stop it. And so they just have to survive it. And that is such a wild, because we're always trying to stop Judgment Day. And in that one, they're just like, you can't. Sometimes you have to just embrace the destiny given to you. And this is what's going to happen to you. And you have to live through it. And I think that's a wild way to take a Terminator movie. I like it. Then the fourth one is in the future the whole time, which is crazy.
Is that the one with Christian Bale?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That has like a whole extra storyline of like, we have machines that don't know they're machines, and then we never come back to it. Like 4 exists in its own universe.
I was watching that movie once. I had seen it before, but I like went back to it years later and turned it on. And then I realized, like, I don't know, 45 minutes into it that I thought I was watching the movie with Christian Bale that had dragons and shit in it. I think it's called like Reign of Fire or something.
It seems so much like that movie.
It's like the same vibe. And then I was like, oh, wait.
Yes.
This is Terminator. There are no dragons in Terminator.
There are no dragons in this.
But it's like a similar cinematographic vibe.
Yes, and there's a whole lot of lava for some reason.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole bunch of fire and lava, and yeah, that's a wild one. And then 5, I think if I were to rank my favorites, and I know I'll get crucified for this and I don't care, it's 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 6 for me.
You just hurt my brain with the way you counted. But
that's fine.
I mean, I honestly don't remember enough from 3 through 6 to like rank them like that.
Yeah. 5 is only a sequel to 1, not 2. Where in 5, the machines tried to kill Sarah Connor as a child. And so he sends Arnold back to protect her as a child. The Terminators kill her parents. So she is then raised by Arnold. So that by the time Kyle Reese gets there, because she has to intercept him, because they still have to bang to make John Connor. They intercept Kyle, and she's the fucking badass. And she's like, come with me if you want to live, motherfucker. Let's go.
Come in me if you want to live.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Honestly, there is no better wingman for Kyle Reese than Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie.
Yeah.
He has brainwashed Sarah Connor into banging this dude and has told her that it will like save the future. And if she doesn't, all humanity will be destroyed. This sounds like cult behavior, Paige.
Oh, and it gets real wild at the end because they kill another machine and like because
Terminator's going to terminate. You know, you don't have to get into it.
Terminator's going to terminate.
Yeah.
They end up in the future they meet up with John because John is now part Terminator. It's a whole thing. That part gets murky and weird. At one point they visit child Kyle Reese. It's a wild adventure, but I'm kind of like, I like the flip of Sarah being the one who is prepared and strong.
Yeah.
And kind of cementing her legacy. And then 6 is just Sarah Connor like coming out of hiding in Mexico to try and rescue this young girl who's been targeted by the machines because she's like the next person that will fight them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, so this is probably my second favorite of the Terminator films. The first being my favorite.
I don't know. I go back and forth. Like, it's honestly which ones I've watched the most recently. So like it's either 1 or 2, depending upon which one I saw the most recently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this movie always wins the award for making me hate a Todd in a movie the most before he gets killed.
Sure.
Because the not stepdad, but adopted father or whatever, foster dad is such an asshole to John Connor. It's like funny to me. But he gets knifed in the face while drinking some milk from the carton, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, the other movie that I wish had killed a Todd is Wedding Crashers.
Oh, yeah.
You don't gift a painting and then ask for it back, Todd.
That painting was a gift. It's sexual and violent. That's one of the only... I love Wedding Crashers. Every time it's on, I'm like, oh, Wedding Crashers. And then my brain dumps and doesn't remember 98% of that movie, except... I made you a painting. It's sexual and violent.
Yeah. I can't tell you how long it was before I stopped hearing, it was a gift, Todd. It was years.
I believe that.
Anyway, I'm just saying everybody needs a friend like Tim.
Yeah.
The kind of friend who will completely play off the cops, be like, no, I don't know who that is. And then immediately rat out the cops to you. That's the best friend ever.
That guy, Danny Cooksey is that actor's name. And he was in fucking everything.
I remember his face, yeah.
For that whole decade, for the 90s. And now he occasionally does stuff, but he's not as instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
Except in kid form, where he was on all of our television screens and all of our movies. Hell of a child actor career.
I buy that he's just doing fine. He worked a lot.
Yeah, I'm double checking to make sure. He does a ton of voice acting work.
Good for him.
Yeah, he was Stoop Kid on Hey Arnold. He did voices for the Lorax, Mom and Dad Save the World, a movie that Mikey desperately wanted to do on our podcasts, but didn't fit on either one.
I remember that, yeah.
This is one that was super popular in our household from 1987, The Little Troll Prince, which is a Christmas animated feature. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, the animated series, that was him too. Salute Your Shorts, he was Budnick. That's where I remember him from. He's one of the urchins in The Little Mermaid TV show, if you watched that. Hey Arnold, 101 Dalmatians, Pepper Ann, Wild Thornberry, Static Shock, Invader Zim, Rocket Power, Kim Possible.
Welcome back to Paige Just Reads You IMDb.
Yeah.
Up next, we're going to go to the guy who played T-1000 and just read everything he's ever done.
Let's do it. He was Alcide's dad on True Blood, and I'm in the middle of a rewatch. All this to say, Homie, if you don't think you've seen Homie since the 90s, you've definitely heard him because dude stay working.
Yeah, dude's been around. He's great, and he's great in this, honestly. But I love that, no, I don't know who that is. Get away from me, cop.
I don't know who he is. He ain't no snitch.
I also really loved how quickly John got over the fact that his foster parents are dead. When he's in that phone booth and Arnold's like, your foster parents are dead. He's like, so tell me more about the T-1000. He doesn't even think about the parents at all. He's just asking more questions.
Care at all.
Yeah, he does not care. He's like, fuck Todd and Juliet or whatever her name was.
Oh God, I forgot to write it. But it's Jeanette. It's Jeanette Goldstein of Aliens and Big Bras fame.
Right.
And so I'm always sad to see her die. But I do think it's kind of funny because I remember them being worse to him. And then watching it as an adult, I'm like, he's a handful.
He is a handful. Man, he's stealing.
They're dicks a little bit,
yeah.
But they're also just trying to make sure he doesn't get arrested or dead.
I mean, I kind of have I watched this with new eyes this time. It had been a while since I saw this.
Yeah, it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about okay, was John Connor gonna be the savior of the future, or did they send the Terminator back in the first one and cause so much trauma in his life that they train him to be the savior of the future, sort of, through their incompetence, I guess, but also the trauma that they push onto his mom, and that he is raised by this lady who is a little, not insane, but been through a lot. And because of that, makes her son kind of badass. And then they put him through a lot and really teach him how to hate machines. You know what I'm saying?
Todd.
And so that just makes him what are we doing? Had they not even sent someone back from the future to kill Sarah Connor, would he just be a barista?
Todd.
What?
I'm so glad you brought this up. That's why I've been pacing for 15 minutes.
Nature versus nurture, Page. T2, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And by talk about it, I mean, don't nobody fucking steal this. I already registered it with the WGA, you fucking fuckers. Okay. This is my Terminator sequel pitch. This is the one that I wrote to just be if I was doing a Terminator sequel and I'm starting from Magic Wand Square A, in Terminator 1, we see the Terminator kill multiple Sarah Connors.
Yes. So one of them also might have had a kid. Oh, Paige.
One of them does have a kid. He crushes the toy truck.
Oh my God.
We know she had a kid.
That's right.
That kid could have been a John Connor. So my pitch for Terminator new sequel is the other John, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyone they go after could be John Connor, because if they chase Sarah down, she learns the skills. And if she has the baby and fucks Reese, then boom, she's got the skills. Now, the one thing is that photograph. But again, that photograph is taken at the end of T1.
Yeah.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, which means it could have been any of those Sarahs.
Yeah.
It could have been any of their children.
Yeah, exactly.
So my pitch, again, already registered it with the Copyright Office and WGA. If you steal it, I will fuck you up. Is the other John, the one whose truck got crushed, whose mom got murdered in front of him, grows up to be a detective and tries to solve his mom's cold case.
Gong, 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 gong.
Ba, figures out its robots.
I love that.
Has to go to Mexico.
And he's like, Captain, I couldn't find him in the bathroom. And the captain's like, nah, he's in the other John.
da, 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 da. That is my, like...
Paige, I love that. I'm not even joking.
Right?
Give me a 90s set noir movie.
Yes.
That is like trying to solve the Terminator murder of your mother. Come on.
Okay, but not 90s, though, because the original Terminator takes place in 1984.
True. Okay, so we'd have to be a little bit later, yeah. But that would be like 2005.
Yes.
I mean, if you did it now, he would just be like a podcaster.
Right. Well, I thought about it. I was like, if you bring it all the way up to now, because like I was born in 87, right? So 84, that's 3 years older. And he's a toddler in the first movie. So let's say somebody is 5 to 10 years older than me, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they are a podcaster, or maybe they're a detective, but can use things like DNA and all kinds of stuff now to try and track down who killed his mom.
Oh my God, I love this.
Right? It's basically Seven meets Terminator. Shut the fuck up. It's great. Again, already registered it. Please do not steal my idea. I already wrote it. Thank you.
What's in the lava pit? Sorry, instead of the box, my bad. I'm sorry. I just felt like it would be funny to yell.
Yeah, what is in it?
I don't know. Paige, I do have one thing I want in that movie. Well, I guess it wouldn't fit in that movie. But in this movie, I really needed one thing. And that was when the nurse licks Sarah Connor's face. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I needed and the camera like comes out, follows that nurse out of the room and sort of walks down the hallway. I wanted in the like hospital room that is like a little bit further down the hall. I wanted it to like go into that room and you see the bride starting to wiggle her toes.
Oh, I thought about that when I was watching this.
Connect the Kill Bill and T2 universes, please.
Woo! I did something a little bit different for this movie than I normally do, because it's not an option for every movie that we do. And that is, I was able to pull the shooting script for this movie. There are some deleted scenes.
Sure, yeah.
We'll talk about them. But one of them is they are full-blown torturing Sarah in this facility.
Okay.
They pull a lot of it out of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's very violent and very upsetting.
I mean, what he does to her alone
It is
right
that
here
guy.
is upsetting. He like licks her face.
Yeah. I feel like they saw that and were like, that feels like enough.
Yeah, it's enough.
Yeah.
That's definitely enough.
Yeah.
Although I didn't realize it until I watched it this time, but I realized in this movie, the T-1000 pretty much goes on the same journey that Gollum in Lord of the Rings goes on.
Yes.
And that was funny to me.
That is.
Because he's like always lurking off screen and he's like this threat from afar. And like, he's like a corrupted like Windows version of Andy Serkis in the background, like trying to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John Connors is precious. I get you.
Yeah,
I
he
feel
is.
you. I see what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Why didn't they take the eagles?
Honestly, why didn't he turn into an eagle? Like, he could fly around and just whatever. Like,
That'd be great.
thank you. I agree. But Paige, maybe we should just go through this movie scene by lustrous scene.
Scene by lustrous scene, we open on essentially a playground, but immediately, you know, the normal tank treads and skulls. It's a Terminator movie.
Right. You know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah Connor is giving us her speech of like 1997, Judgment Day, the day when the machines killed. And you're just like, man, oof. I had the whole thing, and then it was so long. I was like, I can't read this verbatim on the podcast. It's 3.5 minutes long. But it's basically her being like, Judgment Day, when the machines were going to blow all of us up so they could step on our skulls and run their tank treads over it because it's a Terminator movie. And this is Sarah Connor, and this is Serial. Yeah, that kind of.
There's a lot of Sarah Connor voiceover in this movie, but I kind of love it.
Yeah. I do too. There's a deleted scene that I have seen. I know they shot it because I think it's in the extended version of this, and I've definitely seen it just on its own, and it's in the shooting script as well, but it's not in the final theatrical cut. And as I was watching, I was like, why'd they cut that out? And I was like, oh, because it's total magical realism page, and it's the only time in the Terminator universe that there's magical realism. And I was like, oh yeah, all right. But I'll talk about it when we get to it.
Okay.
But it is one of those other things that's basically in Sarah's head. We'll get to it. But yeah, I think it's funny that she has all the voiceovers. And it's like she's in her own movie.
Yeah.
Of just like, I knew what I had to do. And it's like, girl, I don't even think you're the main character. Like, what?
She's not, really. It's her son that's the main character in this movie, more or less.
Her son.
Yeah.
It's a blast.
I mean, her second monologue comes like an hour and 10 minutes in the movie, and you're like, oh shit, I forgot that was happening in this movie.
We'll get to it in just a second. But this movie does something so crazy that like no other movie would get away with it. We would ream another movie for it, but because it's T2 and it is revered and everyone agrees that this is such a good movie, no one says anything about it. But they introduce a character in one scene in like Act 1.1, like so early, and then we don't see or even hear about that character for an hour and 10 minutes. And I clocked the time on it and I was like, that's so insane. Because like I've seen this movie so many times. I was like, oh, that's right, that's the guy. And then once we saw him again, I was like,
what character?
Wait, do we only see him those 2 times? Dyson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's gone for a full hour and a half. He's like, things hinge on him and his character. And he's in like 3 scenes. Anyway, so we cut to a truck stop. Arnold orbs up in the truck stop, arrives naked, as per Terminator 1. We do have a difference, though.
Yeah.
This is the first time we see the carve-outs of the time machines.
Very, very cool, too.
Yeah.
We also see the T-1000 come in, too, right? He's just in the city.
We do. It's just a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because it's after this next scene.
But Arnold walks to the back of a bar naked and then is like, I need your boots, your clothes, and your motorcycle.
Yeah.
And that guy just laughs at him and tells him to fuck off, more or less. And if a naked man that looks like Arnold does at this time walks to the back of a bar to talk to me, I'm giving that man whatever he wants and just praying to God he doesn't beat the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah. This is the height of Arnold's career. This is like right after Predator. This is like, he's fucking shredded.
Yeah.
Like, he's gorgeous. And everyone's like, oh, what? And I'm like, shut up. Like, if somebody that looked like that walked into your bar, you'd just be like, take it. Take money? Sure.
Yeah.
Free drinks? Whatever. Like, no one would do anything about it. And nobody's going to fight that guy. It's really funny when he sizes that guy up to be like, give me your clothes. Because it's like, those aren't going to fit. Like, there's no way.
That is funny. Yeah, you're right. There's like no way you're going to fit into those clothes. Or if it cuts to him riding the bike and it's just like the pants are now ripped and they're more or less just like shorts on the home.
Capris.
And the shirt is just like begging for death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the funniest parts about Reacher is that Reacher can never find clothes.
Accurate, though. Like, that would be a problem. That dude's huge.
Yeah, the dude's huge.
Yeah.
And Terminator never has that problem. Also, never changes his pants.
He doesn't shit, Paige. He doesn't need to. Paige, I also thought it was really rude when Arnold came up to that guy and he was like, I need your boots, your clothes, and your motorcycle. His wife went, and my phone number?
My phone number and my availability for the next week.
That's how naked and hot Arnold Schwarzenegger is in this scene. That's all I'm saying.
You're absolutely right. And that guy should have expected that he'd get burned. Oh, that guy gets thrown on a grill. He throws him onto a grill.
Yeah. Because, of course, he says no when Arnold beats the shit out of him. He takes whatever he wants because it's the Terminator, guys.
It's the Terminator. He snatches a shotgun. You get it. He drives away on the motorcycle. Meanwhile, under an overpass, we get Robert Patrick as the T-1000, who, and I love when the cop walks through the chain link fence that's just perfectly circular and still like sparking on the edges.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's very, very cool.
But this dude insta dead, like immediately dead. But now we have Robert Patrick as the cop. Again, fucking terrifying. he's one of the scariest movie villains ever. Like, as a kid, fucking terrified. To the point where even now when I see him in other things and he's playing a good guy, I'm like, I don't trust him. I never will.
I don't think you should.
No.
Mainly because he looks like a cop. Like he looks like a cop. Like if you saw this guy out in just regular clothes, you'd be like, oh, that's a cop.
Yeah. Right. Hello, fellow kids. Do you know where I can buy some drugs? Yeah, like that. But also, Robert Patrick has like a 5 head isn't even enough to describe it. Dude is half forehead. And the way they have him angle his face in the camera shots just makes him scarier. Like, he clearly knew how to like work with his physicality to look scarier. Because whenever you see him in other stuff, he just looks like a guy, but you're like, isn't that the Terminator cop? I don't trust him. Like, that's how good the performance is and burned into everyone's brains, for sure.
Yeah, dude's amazing. Yeah.
Dude is amazing. He gets into the police car and immediately starts looking for John Connor, who is, of course, in the system.
Yeah.
Now, we cut to John Connor's foster home with his foster parents, who are basically just being foster parents in the 90s.
Or honestly, parents in the 90s, which is to say they were kind of paying attention to what their kids were doing and just wanted them to be quiet.
Yes.
And go out and, quote, play, but come back by dark.
Come back by dark. And he's like fixing a motorcycle and he's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, he's so disrespectful.
It's like a little dirt bike. I do want to point that out because
Yes.
Arnold drives like a legit motorcycle after this. He drives like a Harley at the end of this.
Yeah.
Or the majority of this.
Yeah.
It's a fat boy.
It's a dirt bike. I think my favorite thing is in like 1 or 2 scenes from now when Robert Patrick shows up is like, is John Connor here? They're like, no, I mean, like, who could keep their kids at home, right? Like, shrug. I don't know. He's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, bitch, he's 12.
I think he's like 13, right? He's like barely a teenager. And this guy's like, I don't know. We took his dirt bike and just went for a ride with his friend. What?
What? Yeah, they established that he's 12 because they say a couple times a 12-year-old boy.
Damn. Okay.
I don't know if that's just them generalizing, but like,
Not even a teenager.
not even a teenager.
After he runs off blaring "You Could Be Mine" by Guns N' Roses on his little dirt bike, he goes and robs an ATM of $300.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's a hooligan, more or less, who's been through a lot of trauma. You might say the world, because of his circumstances, is turning him into someone who would be incredibly effective as, like, I don't know, a leader of men in a machine uprising.
Exactly. And you never know who that person could be, because if someone were to say maybe lose a truck and their mom and then try to solve the case, maybe they could also fight the machines anyway.
Oh, Paige, that's just like the movie I wrote. It's like a Terminator thing, except that Sarah Connor who died, her daughter, Jonna, became the savior of the future. Mine's very different from yours, Paige, and I think more progressive.
It's super fucking different. It's so different. How dare you not make it a lady?
Mine's called Together. It's so different. Sorry.
Anyway, so John Connor and Tim go to the ATM. They steal a bunch of money, which, God, how easy were ATMs to hack at the time? While that's happening, Robert Patrick shows up at the foster parents' house and is like, hey, have you seen this boy? And they're like, yeah, we don't know where the fuck that kid is. But also some other guy on a motorcycle came looking for him. Is he with you? And he's like, no, I don't think you have to worry about him.
Which is like the weirdest thing for even a cop to say. Like, we know this guy's the T-1000, but like,
Yeah.
that's a weird thing for anybody to say.
That's a weird thing for anybody to say. And it's also incredibly strange for like, if a motorcycle guy that looks like Arnold, like hell's mightiest angel, like rolled up to my parents' house and were like, is your daughter around? They'd be like, no, and who are you? And then if another guy came and was like, is your daughter around? I think they'd be a little more concerned, but they're just like, I don't know, if you find him, let us know. It's wild.
We don't really care as long as the checks keep coming. So, like, if you find him, tell him, to check back in every month or so. Like, Todd's an idiot because he opened the door when the cops showed up without a warrant. So, like,
Right?
he's clearly dumb.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, because we know that John has a record, it's probably not the first time a cop has been at their door being like, have you seen this boy? I feel like they were thinking that they would have to go pick him up somewhere. And we're pleasantly surprised not to.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he is, during this like montage of scenes here, we do see him literally robbing an ATM with like this thing. He actually uses it later in the movie. This is like the thing that sets it up. But it like you plug it into the bank and it like runs through anything that could be a 4-digit pin. It can crack that code in seconds. So like he uses that here. But I guess my point is like, yeah, the cops are probably looking for him all the time because he's stealing money from ATMs on the regular.
Yeah.
If I had that and I was 12 and I had access to a dirt bike, I would definitely crash and kill myself. But that's largely because I'm 12 years old and I shouldn't be allowed to have any of these things.
Anyway, so he's got money, he's got a dirt bike, and he's got the task of giving us exposition in the film.
Yes.
Because his friend is like, how did you learn to rob ATMs? And he's just like, my stupid mom taught me, but then she's just like a fucking psycho and she's in this like institution, it fucking blows and everything sucks because like she tried to like bomb a computer factory. Okay. And then they like ride off to the mall. And I was like, I want to hear more about that computer factory.
I mean, me too. But this is where he does lay out that Sarah Connor's in Pescadero, like jail, or it might be like a mental asylum. I honestly don't know if it's
an institution.
Okay.
But I believe it's one that like laws and things have changed to a degree now, but there used to be facilities for, air quotes, the criminally insane. I don't think that's a very tactful or kind way to put it, but it is essentially people with mental health challenges that have committed crimes. And I think that's where she is.
Yeah.
Where it is part of the carceral system, but she is not incarcerated in the same way as most people. She is under medical observation.
Yeah.
Is what I assume.
Like psychiatric observation, like regular psych evals and probably sedation and just like it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's the whole Hannibal Lecter treatment, I think, really.
Yeah.
To a degree. But she is trying to transfer to minimum security so she can have visitors.
Yeah. That's the scene where like walking up to that scene, you get Dr. Silverman's like smug ass monologue about like what Sarah went through. And he's like, can you believe that she thought that like she had to bang this homeless dude she like talked herself into it by saying he was from the future and that their baby was going to save humanity. And then this like Australian guy tried to murder her for like 2 weeks straight and they built pipe bombs and threw them. It's crazy. She's crazy, right?
You mean Austrian? You said Australian. And I was like, who is Australian for a second?
Oh, did I say Australian? I meant Austrian. Yeah, sorry. My bad.
That's okay. I was just like, Australian.
Get to the chopper, eh? I can't even do Australian. I'm terrible at accents.
Don't talk about Kyle Reese that way.
I would never. Dr. Silverman would. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. Dr. Silverman would.
It's a smug ass doc.
He kind of gives them the rundown of her complicated delusion and is just like, look how sad she looks. Anyway, make sure she takes her Thorazine and then walks away. Now, this is where multiple deleted scenes happen in the extended version. One.
Is this where it gets to like how bad it is for her in this facility?
Yes.
Okay.
Where she is physically assaulted. She's beaten by that orderly, Douglas. But also, this scene in the script originally begins with a dream where she dreams that Reese is still alive. And Reese is there and is like, hey, you got to get out of here because you got to get to John because John's in trouble. And she's just like, what am I going to do? He's like, I don't know, but they're coming for him. And like, I love you. And there's like this very sweet kind of love scene between them. But he's like, I'm just a dream. I'm not alive, but you got to get to John. Okay, out. Like, bye. And it's a really kind of it's very tender if you care about them as a couple. But again, how would he know? Or does she know? Is he a figment of her imagination? Is this part of her delusion? What is this? It's weird magical realism, and I'm pretty sure that's why it got cut.
That you just said, and when John Connor is talking about how he sees his mom crying sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
Like clearly still missing Kyle Reese after 12-ish years.
Yeah.
Just makes me wonder, like, how good was it? Like, good God. They had sex once 13 years ago, and she's still crying about it.
And it was his first time. If you remember from the first one, he was a virgin. Dude got game.
Just like Jesus. Paige, is John Connor just male Jesus? Wait, never mind. That didn't come out the way I wanted it to. But you know what I'm saying? Like, because the dad was the virgin. Like, that's the way I meant it. I guess they were both male. Historically, maybe, I don't know. They're both fictional. I have no idea. Whatever, Paige. You don't have, stop laughing and talk.
Sir, is John Connor male Jesus? Is the new tagline for the episode. Thanks for that.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY at checkout.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
But secondly, this all comes back to Hero of 1,000 Faces.
Oh, yeah. It all comes back to Joseph Campbell.
All comes back to Joseph Campbell. Most hero cycles feature a messianic figure, and often it follows this kind of progression. So, yes, if we're looking at this from a story structure point of view, John Connor is Jesus. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We can't go into too much more of a lecture than that. We've already been talking for almost an hour. So
good God.
I know. It's because it's T2, man. It's T2. What you gonna do about it?
A T2-parter?
Anyway, that's a good way to solve a problem. By the way, of like, hey, we don't have to record again because it's a T2-parter. Anyway. So, but in this scene, Sarah is pretending she doesn't believe any of it. And Reese was a big old liar because she is trying to get to minimum security so she can definitely escape. She is always looking to escape because she's a fucking badass.
Well, and I also think while she's planning her escape, get to see her son and like get visitors, you know, like having communication with the outside world again was probably a very big motivator. But like the way this scene is done is really well execute. Let me start that again. I really like the way they execute this scene because it gives you a lot of information very quickly because you see where she was when she came in and it tells you it's been 6 months from then. And you very clearly see her playing this part because we know it's all real because we've seen everything, right?
Yes.
So we know she is just playing a part to get this 6-month carrot, you know?
Yeah.
And has been a good girl for 6 months, you know?
Yeah.
And then Dr. Silverman's like, well, we don't want to transfer you, so I'm just going to tell them not to or whatever. Like, he's this big cunt, and I hate him.
Sorry, I just got distracted because I pictured Kyle Reese calling me a good girl. We can move on.
He had literal shit in those pants, and she has sex with him that night.
That's how good his game was, man.
They don't have showers in the future.
She's still crying about it.
Paige, I will guarantee you he put some stank on it because he smelled so bad. Like, they don't have showers in the future. I don't know how bad time travel smells, but it definitely probably sticks to you. And now he's banging her? No.
You don't understand. He came across time for her.
Came across something.
And those sheets, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, he came across something.
Anyway, yes, Silverman's an asshole.
Yeah, he's terrible.
And he immediately basically is like, no, and I don't believe you. So she immediately attacks him because, like, duh.
Yeah.
I also love that he's like, so did they just cover it up? And she's like, no, why would they? Because assuming everything's been destroyed. But no, cut to Skynet. And this is where we meet Dyson.
It's not technically Skynet. It's Cyberdyne Systems.
Cyberdyne Systems.
Yeah.
Skynet is the system they will eventually launch.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, people have named companies Cyberdyne and Skynet since this, thinking it's a fun little gag. And every time I'm like, nah, you need to take this more seriously. This is the future of AI. Anyway, we follow Dyson as he goes through a lab and goes and basically checks out what we will find out is the original CPU chip from the first Terminator and the hand he left trapped in that hydraulic press.
Yeah, but this is more or less just like the guy that Cyberdyne hired to like reverse engineer the tech from the future that was the first Terminator from that first movie, right?
Right.
They were just like, who's like the best engineer and like reverse engineer person that we know? And they're like, who's that guy that started that vacuum company? Let's hire that guy because Dyson sucks. Let's go. And so they hired Miles Dyson.
Oh my God, Todd. What year is it? 2025?
Yeah.
We have 4 years until every Dyson product becomes sentient and rises up against us.
Paige, I actually have I think a very different and like low key pitch.
Okay.
It doesn't make a good movie, but I kind of like it if like, okay, Miles Dyson doesn't die in this movie, but in 1991, he like, you know what? I don't want AI. We don't need it. You know what we do need? Cleaner floors. So I'm going to switch to vacuums. And so he just starts making Dyson vacuums and we don't get AI for another 30 years because of it.
Here's what I'm going to pitch to you, Todd. Do you know the scene in The Mummy where the guy's trying to run out of the tomb and falls and then all of the scarabs come and eat his body and just leave his skeleton?
Uh-huh.
That Roombas.
What? Paige, what you're describing is just little lawnmowers.
Bones are the cleanest man can be.
Oh my God.
Just like up and over, just leaving a skeleton. Don't tell me you don't want this in your Dyson movie.
Be like, no, Dusty!
No!
Because all of them have weird, silly, funny names like that?
Yes. I love anytime they escape people's houses. It's my favorite. Where people just have like Instagram posts of them like stuck on a porch somewhere, like he wants to be free.
But anyway, back to the movie. Like, it kind of makes me sad that Sarah Connor is so hell-bent on like killing Miles Dyson for something he hasn't really done yet. Because like Skynet's not a thing yet, right?
Right.
But she like never acknowledges the incredible work he did in the vacuum industry before they hired him at Cyberdyne. Like, sure, this guy blows, but he certainly knows how to suck.
He also sucks.
I'm so sorry. I heard the punchline in my head as I was talking about like the kind of serious nature of like, well, they're sort of precog murdering this guy. Like they got a Minority Report on him.
Yes.
And then my brain made a stupid joke that I had to say aloud and just ruined the like nuanced point I was trying to make about Minority Report. Anyway, sorry.
Well, and this movie tackles the Minority Report problem in a way that is actually
better,
real and better, because Minority Report at a certain point acknowledges that this is a problem, that like you can't truly predict what people can and can't do.
Right.
Can or won't do. But then Minority Report's like, just kidding, you can, but that's why they get to go live in a garden. It's crazy. Anyway, we cut back to Silberman, and this is where he says that he won't let her out. She tackles him. She gonna be there another 6 months.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Arnold, aka the T-100, has seen the kids on the dirt bike and follows them to the mall while causing a crash.
I mean, yeah, like he's got to turn around on that fat boy he stole from the guy in the bar. So like he can go down into the aqueduct. Doesn't he follow them into the aqueduct?
Later. That's
right.
That's after they leave the mall. It's the LA Viaduct. Yes. It's also where they filmed Drive, if you're super into Drive.
I do super love Drive. Yeah. I do remember one specific thing from that movie, and that's the elevator scene.
Oh, so hot.
Yeah.
Hottest. So hot.
Yeah. When he crushes that guy's head. Yeah.
Oh, the only way it'd be hotter is if his pants were just unwashed.
Oh my God, Paige. Just ask your husband to dress up like a homeless man and have sex with him. That's what you want?
No.
Clearly.
It's not the same because he didn't come across time.
Gotta come across something.
Anyway, they go to the arcade in the mall. The two children do.
Yeah, it's 1991. What else was there to do?
Right?
And you just stole $300 from an ATM, which is the equivalent of $706 today. Like, there's no way they're not coming home from the arcade in a limo with pizza.
Right.
Like, that's how rich they are as a 12-year-old.
They could play in that arcade for years on that money. Like, if that was a Chuck E. Cheese, they're coming back with a full Discman that you could have just purchased for like $100, but they're going to spend $400 winning the tickets for it or whatever.
Paige, they probably could have bought that game they were playing at the arcade.
You're probably right, honestly.
$700, like that's crazy.
I do know that CDs and CD players were way more expensive back in the day.
They were, yeah.
Anyway, so meanwhile, the cop has figured out that that's where they are.
Yes.
Arnold has figured out that's where they are. The cop like went around town and like talked to other children. And so he's going around the arcade talking to other children. And he talks to Tim, and Tim's like, nah, I ain't seen him because he ain't no snitch.
Yeah, Tom's a G.
Yeah.
Or Tim, not Tom.
Tim.
Sorry, Tim.
Tim.
Yeah.
Tim goes to John and is like, hey, man, the cops are here. You better get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And John's like, thanks, bro. And goes to run through the back of the mall. And then some fucking snitch in the arcade is like, it's him right there. And the funniest part to me is that you hear that kid just get swatted into like a window.
Yeah.
Because he literally is just like, ah!
Because snitches get stitches, Paige. I also think it's great because up until almost this moment, if this is the first time you've seen this movie, you're like, fuck, dude. Terminator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator is after John.
Right.
And the T-1000, who's currently in like Robo-Cop's play, is also after John. So like John goes into the hallways that are like between the stores.
We don't know that either of them are good at this point.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? So like, and Terminator's also walking around the mall holding this like, it's a box of roses with a sawed-off shotgun in it. Like he's a mobster in 1923 and he's about to assassinate a Gambino.
Right.
Like that's the way he's like walking around this mall. Anyway, so like John runs into the hallways that are like between the stores, but are like back room hallways. Like the regular customers don't have access to them. So it's like just him and then the T-1000 coming from the other side and then Arnold coming from the other. And then Arnold, of course, does the famous like take the shotgun out of the box and shoots over John to shoot the T-1000. And then the T-1000 starts shooting back right as a guy from like Foot Locker's like, God, I gotta find these like size 7, get shot in the face. It's so funny.
Oh, brutal. That guy was on break.
That guy just like wanted to get home to his pregnant wife who he had married because like he was just trying to figure out how to be a father and like make it work. And he got gunned down by a machine.
He just wanted to get to Wetzel's Pretzels or Auntie Anne's, depending on what was in your mall, to get a little bit of nourishment to make it through the rest of the day, to take those returned tennis shoes back.
He's like, I got to get something savory and sweet to get me through the next 4 hours.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And it's pretzel day. Anyway, Sabar rolls over dead. One potato, two potato down that hallway. And those are very old mall things. Malls don't really, do they still, I know malls still exist, but not the way they used to, really.
I mean, I don't think they're the social epicenter they once were, but I do think people still go to them. Like I've been to one sort of recently-ish.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, but at this point, John has figured out, oh, the T-100 is not here to kill me. He's killing that guy. So he hops on the back of his bike and they take off.
Right.
Now, this is one of those very famous scenes in the movie because the T-1000 does the like run with the like hands, the very like nerdy, scary run.
Well, and he's like booking it faster than a human could run. Like it looks awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if they just like sped up the footage or if they just had Robert Patrick be like, run hella fast, man. Run the fastest you could run.
It was probably a little bit of both, but it doesn't look like insanely sped up. It just looks like that dude is like running like Tom Cruise does, except instead of being 5'2", he's like 6'1".
He's like 6'1". I credit to Robert Patrick in this scene too. He's distinctly not breathing heavy.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it scarier because he's just like fast and he's not even trying. He carjacks a truck like an 18-wheeler, like a big rig. He hops in and he chases them down into the viaduct. Problem with that, lots of overpasses. And so it like shears off the top of the truck. It's a problem. The truck is falling apart and Arnold keeps turning back and shooting at it until at one point it is leaking gasoline and Arnold's like, haha, shoots the gasoline, explodes the truck. And for a moment, we're like, nice way to kill that Terminator. What's next? And they drive off. But as soon as they drive off, who should walk out of the flaming wreckage? Alex Mack. but also the T-1000.
Yeah. I think it's funny that James Cameron used to be a truck driver, and truck drivers are like prominently featured in this movie.
Constantly getting
There
killed.
are so many trucks that like this T-1000 guy gets in and tries to run John Connor over. And I'm not saying that James Cameron definitely wanted to run someone over with his big rig, but it does feature heavily in this movie.
It does feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and in the original Terminator, they truck jack a dude.
Yeah.
At least once that I remember. Anyway, meanwhile, they drive slightly out of town. And Arnold's like, we got to get out of town to, avoid the authorities. And John Connor's like, I want to go home to get some stuff. And he's like, no, you can't go home because he's going to go look for you. And he's like, can I at least warn my foster parents? Like, they're assholes, but they deserve to know where I am, right?
Yeah.
And so they go to the payphone. Arnold punches the quarters out and they call. And this is where we get the like, hey, honey, I'm making dinner. Is everything okay? And he's like, something is off. It's not good. And the dog is barking in the background. Now, if you remember from Terminator 1, dogs are a way that they can tell machines from people.
Yeah.
That factors heavily into Terminator 4, and everyone forgets it in all the other Terminators except a little bit of 5. Anyway, so he asks, what's the dog's name? And then he takes the phone over, imitates John's name, and uses the wrong dog's name.
Yeah, he says Wolfie.
Wolfie instead of Max.
Yeah.
And the foster mom replies back, oh, Wolfie's fine. And this is where he goes, your foster parents are dead.
And John Connor's like, oh, okay. So tell me more about the T-1000. Like, he just doesn't care. He does not care at all.
Okay, here's how you do a high five.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, we briefly cut to their house where we see that Jeanette Goldstein, her arm became a knife because, again, the T-1000 is just made of knives.
She actually started it before the call was over. She kills Todd during the phone call. It's just so fast and like he doesn't make a sound because it was like an instant dead kind of thing. So they don't hear it.
They don't hear it. But this is where we kind of first realize that the T-1000 can look like and imitate anybody.
Yeah.
Freaky. Anyway, now that he's like, your parents are dead. Oh, all right. This is where he's like, so, hey, do you have to do what I say? Okay, like, yeah, sure. I thought my mom was like lying, but like, you're here. So like, here's how you say cool stuff and like take care of those jocks for me. And it's like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm like, we could cut this whole scene after the parents are dead.
He's 12, Paige. He's 12 years old. And he got a new toy for Christmas from the future.
I know, but we spend a lot of time with him playing with his toy.
Yeah, but it's like Iron Giant, kind of.
Oh no, Iron Giant is a fantastic film. Iron Giant is so good.
What happens at the end of Iron Giant, Paige?
It's so fucking sad. It's so sad.
What happens at the end of this movie, Paige?
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm not saying that Terminator 2 is also Judgment Day, but it's definitely Iron Giant.
Iron Giant's so good. Anyway, while he's like learning the ropes of having his own personal Terminator, we cut to the police have come to interrogate Sarah because they caught Arnold on the surveillance cameras at the mall. And they're like, we've been looking for this guy since 86 when he killed an entire police station of people in Los Angeles. And turns out you were there too, and your son is missing. So it seems like you probably know what's going on, and his foster parents have been murdered. While they're asking her this, she does steal a paperclip off the table.
Yes.
And she's like, I don't know. Sorry, guys. She's just like catatonic, won't answer them.
Well, and she truly doesn't know. She's been in this jail for like at least 6 months.
Yeah.
And also if like the guy who murdered a whole police station full of people because this person was in that police station, I would like, if that person was on the loose, I would not go to I would not go to Sarah Connor and be like, yo, what's up? I'd be like, I know where she is, so I'm staying as far away from that building as possible.
Or call the army and put them around that person.
Yeah, immediately give that guy 5 stars in Grand Theft Auto. Like, you got to call in the tanks.
Yes.
You got to call in everybody.
Yes. Yeah. But they take Sarah back to her room and lock her up.
Yeah.
We'll cut back to her in just a bit. In the meantime, we get a little bit more of Edward Furlong playing with his new Terminator. But this is where he gives him the command of, we don't kill. Now, that's a pretty loose command. Through the rest of this movie, they play it as if he's not directly killing people, but he is like blowing up cars and things around them. And I'm like, the shrapnel would definitely kill those people. A bunch of people are dead. Even though he, air quotes, did not kill them.
I mean, he blows up cars, Paige, and like famously shrapnel comes from that. Like,
yeah,
they would definitely have injuries.
He throws multiple people through plate glass windows. I'm like,
yeah,
those people are probably dead.
Yeah.
Or at least their back is broken. Like they're very dead.
Yeah, they are, or their spine is.
Or yeah, either way. But we cut back to the facility that Sarah is in, because who has showed up there but the T-1000? And Sarah is being strapped down. This is where Douglas licks her face. Super gross. Wiggle your big toe. But she then uses the paperclip to get herself out of her restraints, ties her hair back, and she's ready for business. Because much like we saw her at the beginning of this movie where she was doing like hanging sit-ups, she's fucking shredded. She is ready to rip faces and like snatch throats out of people.
Yeah.
She doesn't do that, but she is ready.
She honestly is a huge badass in this movie, though. Like, she's awesome.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I maybe should go back and watch it. There was a great Terminator TV series for a while where Lena Headey plays Sarah Connor. And it's the in between years of like her and John in Mexico trying to survive, and Terminators are constantly after them. And they basically just portray her as the biggest badass around.
Yeah.
And it was beloved. And when it was canceled, people were very sad. So maybe I'll go back to that after True Blood or whatever. But
yeah.
Anyway, she's now loose. The T-1000 is there. She does not know the T-1000 is there. So she just starts planning her escape. Starts with Douglas, where she beats the shit out of him with a broom handle, and we could not be happier about it.
I mean, I kind of loved it because it literally is the same guy who looked her face over.
Yeah.
Or earlier, right? So like, this guy is abusive.
Yes.
Like, she took a mop to your face for that wet ass cheek. Like, she hit him in the face with the mop broom like handle. And like hit him a lot after that.
Yeah.
And yes, I did just sing that.
It would, and you know what? She was pretty fast, but I think she could have done it swifter. It's all puns today. That's all my brain can do.
I love it.
Anyway, T-1000's there. And he shows up because he's dressed like a cop. And the lady at the front's like, oh, are you with the other cops? Let me buzz you in. Like instant. But then the cops are coming out. And so she's like, oh, there's your friends right there. She turns around. He's gone. Because what is he? The Floor.
He is the Floor, Paige.
The Floor is Robert Patrick. He orbs up behind one of the security guards just as he wins that full house on his coffee cup.
Yep.
Oops. And he immediately eye stabs him just like he did to Todd. And now he is in that guy's appearance. But Douglas is down. That guy's down. Sarah now makes her way into the office where Silberman is basically documenting her file. And she beats the shit out of him. She breaks his arm.
Yeah.
I want to say it's 3 where he lists out all of the various injuries she has caused him. And he now is like terrified of her. It's pretty great.
As he should be, though. Like,
as he should be. She gets a syringe, pulls a syringe of Drano, and uses that to basically threaten to inject it into Silberman to get out. So she gets out through a couple different gates. She, is like, stay down, gets out, breaks off the key, trapping everyone on one side, her on the other.
Yeah.
But as soon as that happens, a guy tries to tackle her. She immediately breaks his nose. Good for her. As soon as this happens, who should show up? But the T-1000 and John. But for Sarah, the T-1000 is the only Terminator she's ever seen.
Right.
So she assumes that it's here to kill her, right?
Yeah.
So she's fucking running, but who else is there? The T-1000 as the security guard. He kind of gets everyone out so he can get through that gate to her, and the T-1000 starts going after him. Sarah is very confused and very traumatized and probably very triggered.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is technically the dude that killed the love of her life.
Yeah.
Made her the mother of the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, they run out kind of through the elevator because they shoot him enough times to slow him down, but it's clear that he regenerates too fast. They get into the elevator. He breaks into the shaft and is on top of the elevator, stabbing down into it.
That scene where he like sticks his like knife hand into the door and then it becomes like that vice to open it is so cool. Like, it's such a good use of his unique power.
Right.
That I loved it. I was like, oh, shit, that's perfect. Like, I loved it.
Right. It's perfect. And he's now stabbing down into the elevator.
Yeah.
He does get Sarah. He nicks Sarah's back, basically, as he's stabbing down. But they make it out into the parking garage where they carjack a cop. And they steal that cop car.
Yeah, Sarah is not playing either. She runs out there, shoots through the windshield, and then tells him to get out.
Yes. Yeah.
She shoots first and demands later.
She also at one point takes Arnold's gun off his holster and shoots with it.
That's in the elevator, yeah.
In the elevator. Now, they take off in the cop car. In the elevator, there's now enough holes in the ceiling that he can orb through the holes and regenerate in the elevator.
Yeah, he kind of drops down in the elevator like a metal poop.
Yes.
And then he becomes him again in the full RoboCop's play. And he starts RoboCop running towards the cop car they're fleeing the scene in.
Yeah. And it makes sense that he was kind of a metal piece of poop because he's a real piece of shit. Stupid. Anyway, they drive away. They have enough of a head start on him. They get away. They get to a rest stop that has a garage. So they kind of ditch the cop car. They stitch up Sarah. They take the bullets out of Arnold. They steal a new car. And all through this, they're kind of giving us more exposition of Arnold could live 120 years.
Yeah.
That's not going to come back until Terminator 6, by the way.
But this is also where John is trying to explain to Arnold that you can't just kill people.
Right.
It's the same beat in The Iron Giant where Hogarth's you're not a gun.
Yeah, you're not a gun.
It's the same emotional beat. I swear to God, this is just James Cameron's Iron Giant. It is.
Well, except that this was first, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's also not better. I love this movie.
Anyway, they get in the station wagon. They start heading south because they are going to head to Mexico because that's where Sarah has her stash, canonically in the Terminator franchise.
Yeah, it's with Enrique in Mexico.
Enrique.
Yeah.
So while they're driving, this is where we get the hasta la vista baby, later dickweed, chill out dickweed, no problemo, where he's just teaching him slang.
Yeah.
They end up at Cactus Jack's, and she's just kind of sitting at a picnic table, catatonic, and then sees the kids on the playground because she has had visions of Judgment Day and it's always the playground.
Yeah.
So she goes to ask Arnold and she's like, I need to know how it happens. And Arnold is like, it's this guy named Miles Bennett Dyson. And at this point I clocked it. It's an hour and 7 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
Where it's we saw that guy once.
And you're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy that we saw a scene of his life forever ago. Okay.
But essentially what Arnold lays out for her is that they found the chip. He re-engineers it. It works so well. They put it in all of our fighter jets and commercial air flights, and they have a perfect record. There's no crashes. There's no nothing. And so they roll it out to the entire army, and they become the largest supplier of military systems. But we try to kind of disengage with them because they are going to go after targets we did not approve. So they launch nukes at Russia. Russia launches nukes at us. Everybody dies, and then they take over. And they become self-aware on August 29th, 1997, Judgment Day. So 6 years from where they are right now.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
It's Terminator.
It's Terminator. The world's going to end in 6 years or whatever.
Whatever. 6 seems optimistic at this point. Anyway, so they get to her gun stash. She speaks perfect Spanish. She's hanging out with Enrique. His whole family is there. This is a safe house for them. And we unearth her bunker. They do call the T-100 Uncle Bob to kind of throw off the scent because I'm sure Enrique knows about Terminators.
Oh, yeah.
And this is in the Terminator universe. She does find people who help her along the way, and they do know about Terminators and they believe her, essentially.
They just have faith that Terminators exist or whatever, right?
Right, exactly.
But I think that they're just hoping that Enrique assumes Uncle Bob is just the guy that Sarah Connor is now dating or whatever.
Yes.
And is looped into this thing. Because they don't want Enrique knowing that he's a Terminator.
He does give him a weird look.
Well, okay, but
I think in part because Sarah has never brought anyone, right? Because Sarah's still crying over Kyle because he rocked that shit so hard.
Paige,
right?
He must have broke it off inside her. I don't know how, it's crazy how much she still pines for it. But I do think Enrique's looking at Arnold Terminator crazy because he's holding a sawed-off shotgun and he picks up Enrique's baby by the back of his overalls.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's never considered that humans aren't always adults.
Yeah.
He's I don't even know Are you guys not born looking like I have always looked this? I've never been there's never a child version of me. I don't know what this is. Like, that's how he picks up that child. Like, he's never considered children.
Yes. Yeah, wild. But this is also, I desperately need to talk about something that happens in Terminator 6, because there's no way we're going to get to 6.
Okay.
In 6, have you seen 6?
I doubt it.
Okay, I'll save you time. Yada, yada, yada.
So Palpatine's back. And
Palpatine's back. Arnold the T-100 is still alive and just living in Texas as like a guy who likes guns. Like he assimilates and lives as a human.
Just like Robert Durst when he was on the run.
Exactly. Because they're a cybernetic organism covered with human skin. So the human skin ages. So like he has aged over time.
Yeah, no, I've seen this one. I've seen that one.
Yeah. And in a relationship with a woman who has a son. And at a certain point, someone's like, hey, buddy, sex, how does that happen? Like, what's happening? And he's like, our relationship's not like that. And I'm like, she never tried? Like, what? And I have just so many questions about it that I can't believe someone put it in a screenplay and didn't anticipate this many questions about it, because I could talk about it for hours.
Paige, that can go one of two ways. Either like she is his beard or whatever, and is just like Ace and doesn't care, or
right, they
did for a while but stopped because they had to do a second hip replacement, and they were like, let's not chance it.
That's okay, because I'm like, he's full metal. He's like one of the chrome ones. Like, he's not like a Robert Patrick that could just be anything, or even the ones from Terminator 4 that are like mostly human but have like the chip or whatever. He's like a full 6'3" metal skeleton.
Yeah.
That would fucking wreck you, man.
Not metal. That dude's probably 250 of solid like muscle. With skeleton, he's probably 1,000 pounds.
1,000 pounds. And also, and which, hey, I mean, get on the top. That's fine. Whatever. But do you think Cyberdyne made it so they could fuck? Do people just always make robots fuckable?
I definitely think that's the timeline we're in, yes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
With who's currently in control of, like, robot advances? Yeah.
Then Boston Robotics dogs better stop being so flirty.
They like it doggy style. They're literally already putting guns on those, and if you don't think they're going to be used in the next crowd control sort of situation.
100%.
Yeah, I can't wait till Boston Dynamics is responsible for the next Kent State.
Oof, magoof.
Yeah.
I did appreciate Last Podcast on the Left every year does like a end of the year like bracket where they like posit who could defeat who. And one of them was Moo Dang strapped to a Boston Dynamics dog.
Love it.
But Moo Dang got killed almost immediately. So then it was Joseph Fritzl riding a Boston Dynamics dog.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Very fun episode. Luigi Mangione almost made it to the top. Anyway, so they pick up the guns. They have all the stuff. And Sarah briefly has like another voiceover where she's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's sending him back was crazy, but in this crazy world, it's a sanest choice. And she's like carving into a table.
She's carving just like her initials next to Kyle Reese's with a big heart around it. Yeah.
Heart. Meanwhile, John Connor is with the T-100. He's like, man, my dad's never even been born yet, but he only got to like gush in my mom that one night. But sometimes she still cries about it. And which made it extra weird for me, having seen 5 where they visit young Kyle. And I'm like, weird. Anyway, this is where Sarah just fucking books it. She just leaves.
Well, you know she was about to become a central figure again because her voiceover was like, remember me? I'm the main character now again from the beginning.
I'm the main character. Where's Rachel? Like, yeah, it's me, the main character again. And I guess it's been weird because I feel like I love Big, but he's like not willing to commit. Anyway, so she carves into the table. No fate but what we make, which is part of a longer quote that is in the first Terminator, and it becomes the quote of like all Terminators, no fate but what we make.
Yeah.
Which ultimately in Terminator 3, no, sometimes fate just be happening to you. But whatever. Anyway, this is where we get the very, very famous Judgment Day scene of her like seeing the playground and then holding onto the chain link fence, and then she's just like a charred husk. Very scary.
She becomes like the leaves that gets blown away that she references in like the flashback video scene where she's like losing her mind, quote unquote,
right.
With Dr. Silverman. Yeah.
But John and Uncle Bob, aka the T-100, aka Arnold, see No Fate But What We Make and stare at it for what seems like a couple hours because the light changes. And then they're like, Cyberdyne, she went to go kill that guy. We got to go find that guy, right?
The thing is, they show up like 20 minutes after she gets there.
I know. They must have sped the whole way.
Yeah.
No fires on the freeway for them. But we cut to Dyson's house, where he is married to S. Apatha Murkerson, who doesn't get enough screen time in this film.
Of Law and Order fame? She was on Law and Order for like 30 years.
Yes. Anyway, Sarah Connor shows up and literally just starts spraying the house with bullets. Doesn't care that there's a mom and kid inside. Nothing. She's just spraying the house with bullets, and she does clip Dyson.
She does.
And then comes in and can't finish the job because she realizes she's killing somebody who hasn't done it yet.
She's the Terminator, Paige.
She's the Terminator.
Yes.
She has become the thing she fears the most.
Yes.
The thing she hates the most. I ain't no killer. And so she can't do it.
And Paige, I understand this is like an emotional scene. She's literally curled up into a ball when John and the Terminator arrive to like sort of kick off the last act of this movie. But can we talk a little bit about how nice Miles Dyson's house is?
Gorgeous.
It's a mansion. Like he hasn't even invented.
He's an early adopter in tech, of course.
Yeah, but like, listen, he was hired by Cyberdyne to like do what would eventually become Skynet. I'm just saying he's got vacuum money. Like he has started a vacuum empire and sold, and now I'm just working for fun at a different company kind of money. That's all I'm saying. Because he's not yet like done what he's famous for.
Not yet.
And he's already living like this.
But also, did you see that house? Perfectly clean.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you think he was actually further along in his like development of Skynet because you don't get a house that clean without some little artificial help.
That's what I'm saying. Where was that Roomba? Where was that Roomba that could have defended him against Sarah Connor? Anyway, they show up. His house is spotless, but not a Roomba in sight. Cowards. Anyway, John and the T-100 show up, and Dyson at this point is like, please don't kill me. I don't know why you're here. What is it? And Sarah's like, it's all your fault. And he's like, what's my fault? Please just tell me. And so then she's like, T-100, show him. And he degloves his hand.
Yeah, he takes his hand off.
So it's the Terminator hand.
Awesome.
It's robot. It's creepy. And I think that's what gets Dyson to listen, because the story is crazy. And they basically are like, here's what's about to happen. And I love that they yada, yada, yada over this with Sarah's voiceover. And she's like, we talked to him about it for hours.
Yeah.
Like,
and he took it better than we expected. And it like zooms on his face and he's like, I think I'm going to throw up.
Yeah. He's like, you're right. And I am now willing to sacrifice my entire body, soul, and everything to make sure this doesn't happen. Quick buy-in. But he's down.
He is. I think he doesn't get enough credit, man. Like, I think
true.
They tell him he believes them. Listen, I would believe them too. If a guy cut off his arm and it was a metal arm, like I would believe him too. So like, I get it. But I don't think he thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to get them in and they were going to blow up his office. And like, I've worked at places where if a guy was like, hey, I want to go blow up your office, I wouldn't be like, no, you know? I might be like, yeah, I can give you the code to get in.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's trying to do. I don't think he's trying to like sacrifice himself yet.
Yeah, I don't think he thought he would die. He should have. They've already shot him once.
I know. I wouldn't go anywhere with the person who just tried to kill me, but he does.
Well, right. And just tried to kill me. Didn't come here and be like, hey, I need to talk to you. But again, if she had just, here's the thing. She should have waited and gone with John and the T-1000, degloved the hand before shooting.
Yeah.
Because if she had just gone by herself, he would have been like, there's a crazy lady out here. Please come get her.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, they're now all going to the office because some stuff is stored in a specific part of the lab and they have to destroy it. So they get inside and he can't quite get into the lab because he's above that. That's below his pay grade now, basically.
Well, no, it's because as they get in, they like tie up that guy who's in security in the bathroom.
Right. And he calls.
And then the other guy sees him in the bathroom and then he triggers the silent alarm. So it like shuts down all of the keypads more or less.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of a cool like obstacle they have to kind of figure out.
Right.
But this is where the ATM hacking comes back.
Right.
And of course, just Arnold being Arnold and super strong and stuff comes back to like, okay, they can still get to the hand and the chip from T1, you know?
Right. Because despite the silent alarm, he's like, I used to have a personal entry code. I haven't used it in a while, but.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. That's what kicks off. They try to code break it with the thing. It ain't working. That's when Arnold just shoots through it and basically fire in the hole, blows a hole in the wall.
Well, so, yeah, but like, Edward Furlong does open the safe with that pin cracker thing.
Right.
But they can't get the door open, and that's what he uses the grenade launcher on.
Right.
And he stands so close to that door when it blows up. Like, if he wasn't a Terminator, it would have killed him.
He would have been, yeah. And when he's like, Edward Furlong, get out of the way. And he steps like 2 steps to the side, and I'm like, no, that kid would have been thrown like 30 feet.
That's a grenade launcher.
Meanwhile, the T-1000 is at Dyson's house, and we don't know where S. Epitha Murkison and her son are, but I hope they're safe.
I'm sure they're not at the house anymore.
I would hope. Anyway, we cut back to the Cyberdyne building because while the T-1000's in the house, he hears over the police scanner that all the police are headed to the Cyberdyne building, and he's like, fuck. He doesn't say that, but he communicates it with his eyes.
I love when John comes back and he's like, hey, the cops are here, and Sarah's like, how many? And he goes, I don't know, all of them? Like, it's like a lot. It's a lot of cops.
Most? Anyway, at this point, the T-100's like, I got this shit. And John is like, remember you said not to kill anyone? He's like, yeah. And then he goes and blows up a bunch of cars, which would have definitely killed people.
Yeah, he like shoots up with a minigun a bunch of cars and then uses the grenade launcher on a bunch to like explode them, which definitely could have killed people.
Definitely could have killed people.
Paige, listen, you could tell Arnold's from Austria because the cops don't start shooting back for a full 2 minutes after he starts opening fire on them.
Yeah.
They're like, maybe he'll calm down and we can arrest him peacefully. Like, it's crazy the amount of time it takes for them to return fire on a guy with a minigun.
It's nuts. But while that's happening, there's also cops that have like scaled the roof and are crashing down into the lab.
Yeah.
So as they're getting into the lab, they get the chip, they get the arm, they smash them both, but now Edward Furlong has them.
Yeah.
And he takes off. Meanwhile, Sarah and Dyson are trying to destroy the other stuff in the lab and detonate a bomb that they have set up there that will destroy everything. As they're doing that, the guys from the roof break through the windows and just open fire, riddling Dyson with bullets, but he's still alive long enough to hit the detonator as his final selfless act.
Oh, man.
And Sarah manages to get out. She gets kind of to the back of the lab. There's no way out. And Edward Furlong and the T-100 basically have to go get her. They're watching on the security cams in the lobby. They go up and get her. They break a hole through the wall. They pull her out and they take off.
Yeah, man. I love this scene. And I know we've been making fun of Miles Dyson a lot, but like the choice he makes at the end is like so heavy. Like, I love it.
It is.
Because he's like, he's sacrificing himself for this thing he has not yet done, you know? Like, he doesn't have to pay for anything because he hasn't done it. And he still sort of is like, I guess I'll sort of take the hit for this thing that I haven't done. And I think that's such like a nuanced thing. And it's kind of cool that he makes that choice. I just wish that like right before it, instead of saying it's getting too heavy to hold or whatever he says to the cop as the cop comes up, I wanted him to be like, this is going to suck, and then drop it.
Because Dyson, yes. Meanwhile, the T-100 commandeers a police van and crashes it into the lobby so that John and Sarah can get in. They take off in that van. The T-1000 commandeers a helicopter and kicks a guy out of that midair, and thus a freeway chase ensues where the helicopter tries to get under an overpass and it clips the back of the helicopter off, sending it crashing onto the freeway and flipping the van, which then also breaks Sarah's leg and any number of things. So now everyone is worse for the wear and limping on the freeway. Then everyone gets new trucks.
Literally. Paige, when the T-1000 gets in the helicopter, here's the way I wish they had been able to make that happen. Like, they're on like a bridge and the helicopter is going under the bridge, you know, like a really tall, like Golden Gate kind of bridge. And just have the T-1000 jump off the bridge and then turn into like rain and go through the propellers and just like form back into a person like on the inside. Like, as like the liquid metal go down like rain, just that'd
be dope.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope. I'd do that. That'd be awesome.
That would be. It would be awesome. But he kind of just like grabs and orbs up and hops in and tells the other guy to get out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he crashes the helicopter, the van crashes, then everyone on the freeway gets out and our three heroes get into a small pickup truck, and then our villain gets into an 18-wheeler again because James Cameron can't resist blowing up an 18-wheeler.
It's not even just an 18-wheeler. It's a liquid nitrogen 18-wheeler. Like it is.
It is a liquid nitrogen 18-wheeler. And they run and drive directly into a foundry, which like, I love that the movie is like yada, yada, yada freeway foundry.
Yeah.
Have fun, guys. They drive, they run in, the 18-wheeler crashes into the foundry, shattering or cracking the tank open, freezing the T-1000. Arnold shoots him. He goes into a bunch of pieces and you're like, oh, nice. That's the way to beat him. No, it's a foundry. It's hot. He like orbs back together. They run into the foundry and they kind of split up. And thus ensues a bit of a cat and mouse where he and the T-100 are fighting. He kind of like impales the T-100 onto one of the catwalks. John is running away with the arm and the chip. And Sarah has now been stabbed in the shoulder by the T-1000.
Yeah.
And as we see Arnold kind of like pull himself free, but he's not free yet, Sarah takes the shotgun and cocks it with one arm and then pulls it under and fires with the same arm. It's the most badass shit ever.
It is.
Ever. But in the process, we do see the T-100 break off another arm, hence T3.
Yeah.
But she shoots a couple times at the T-1000, at least to get him backed up to the molten lava behind him.
Man, I kind of love this moment because you're like, oh, hell yeah. Because it like Sarah Connor shoots him like 6 times.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's just one more time until he goes over the edge like Gollum.
Right.
And click.
She's out of bullets.
I love that. And she tries to cock it again and shoot and click. And you think, oh, they're fucked. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger comes up over that, like, I don't know.
Catwalk. Yeah, it's like a catwalk.
But it's like a wheel that's like churning more or less. That he's just riding
one of the gears.
Because he's more or less just a torso with one arm that's holding a grenade launcher.
Right.
So he shoots the T-1000 and it like explodes it in half.
Right. Which then has the ability to knock him into the molten metal.
Yes. I mean, he stumbles just like Gollum over the edge and falls into the lava and becomes nothing.
Right. One would hope, unless then that whole thing is just T-1000. But no, allegedly it's just lava.
If T3 had started with that lava becoming T-1,000,000.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But now they throw the hand and the chip in, and Arnold is like, one more thing, I gotta go in.
Yeah.
Because I can't have them finding me, although they will find his arm later, so this was all for nothing. But
either way, this is still his like, I am Superman moment.
Right, because John has to kind of lower him down, and he's sad because it's his friend, and he just gives the thumbs up as he goes into the molten metal.
It's so good.
And he melts, meaning that we averted Judgment Day, allegedly.
And that's the movie. So having seen the movie, we talked about the movie. What did you think about Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
It is a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. It has endured for 20 plus years at this point because it's so good. I wish they still made movies like this. Like, I feel like Marvel tries sometimes, and sometimes they get close. But, like, this is a movie that truly has its own IP, but also a really good emotional core to it.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
The MCU wishes, man. Like, this movie's great.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish James Cameron would go back to making movies like this instead of just being fascinated with the sea. But whatever.
Listen, man. He's a trucker from the 70s who became a brilliant director, and he's a little weird, but the dude's, he makes great movies. Like, say what you will about like Avatar or Titanic, but they're like good movies, man.
Yes.
I mean, and when I first saw Fern Gully when I was like 8, I was like, man, I could watch 5 of these easy. And so thank you, James Cameron, for delivering what 8-year-old Todd wanted.
Right? You're welcome, 8-year-old Todd.
Yeah, right. But Paige, I love this movie. I think it's great. I'll watch it a bunch more times. I don't know what else to say that we haven't said, so I'll just simply say, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, here it is with your fun facts.
Terminator 2 fun facts. Now, here's what's pretty fun. I found this on the Amazon, like as I was watching it on like the side panel. Edward Furlong's stunt double was so much larger than him that they would have to build proportionally bigger bikes and clothes and everything and sets to accommodate his larger stunt double. But also, this movie took so long to make that he actually had a growth spurt during production. And so he's noticeably younger in the desert scenes than in other scenes. And then his voice starts to crack, and they had to adjust the pitch in post-production, and they had to then continually adjust his bikes and clothes because he would grow quite tall over the months. And so one of the scenes that was shot in late in the production schedule, he had to stand in a hole in the ground to maintain continuity to the height difference between him and Linda Hamilton, who played Sarah Connor.
That's wild that he grew that much while they were shooting this.
This took a long time to make, understandably, right? Now, we talked about this a little bit, but Robert Patrick took a rigorous running regime and practiced breathing only through his nose so that he did not look like he was breathing hard at high speeds. And by the time they shot the scenes, he was able to catch Edward Furlong on the dirt bike with ease.
Good God.
So that is him running.
God, that is insane. I mean, because he's booking it. I honestly wish they had been able to put a very fast rolling treadmill on close to the ground being pulled by a truck rig system. So they were able to pull him at 30 miles an hour, but he's still hoofing it like he's running at 15 miles an hour because it would look so crazy.
Yep.
But it still looks amazing. And the fact that was him actually just running, that's nuts.
Yep.
Good for him.
Nuts. There is a scene. We didn't really talk about it, but as she's trying to shoot the T-1000, he appears as Sarah briefly for 2 seconds. In order to accomplish this, they actually used Linda Hamilton's twin sister, Leslie Hamilton Guerin, who was her double in scenes that involved two Sarah Connors. So that scene in particular, but also in a deleted scene where there was a mirror image of Linda, I think, as part of her dream sequences.
Wild. I didn't realize she had a twin sister. Awesome.
Now you know.
Yeah.
There was concern as to how realistic the CGI would look for the helicopter going under the bridge. So the pilot just did it for real.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've dated a helicopter pilot. They're crazy. They're just crazy people. I met a few because she hung out with a bunch of other helicopter, but they were crazy people.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be to do that.
Those things are designed to fall.
Yeah.
And they're I want to fly that around.
So this is the only Terminator to win or be nominated for an Oscar. It won 4 out of the 6 it was nominated for, mostly for special effects and camera, lighting, etc.
Yeah, Cameron didn't even get a director nod for this, which is nuts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he eventually won for Titanic, so good for him.
Yep. For the Los Angeles River sequence, which is the viaduct, Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a lot of pain because he couldn't wear a glove while cocking the gun. So his fingers would get stuck in the gun mechanism, and he tore the skin from his fingers and hand many times before mastering it. And he frequently accidentally hit Edward Furlong with the gun while doing it. One time almost knocking him unconscious.
Oh, God.
While driving a Harley.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was tough. Stan Winston and his crew worked on this for special effects, so that's why it looks so good.
Of course.
But they studied hours of nuclear test footage in order to make Sarah Connor's nuclear nightmare look as realistic as possible. That's the one with the chain link fence.
Yeah.
And a miniature Los Angeles was made to simulate the scene. So that's a miniature. It looks incredible.
It does look really good. You're right.
Yep. Some of the materials they used in the miniature were matzo crackers and shredded wheat. And after each take, it would take 2 days to set the model up to shoot again.
What?
Yeah.
Crazy.
In 1991, after the movie came out, several U.S. federal nuclear testing labs unofficially declared this, quote, the most accurate depiction of a nuclear blast ever created for a fictional motion picture. They've stated several times that no scene they've ever worked on since has received that amount of praise or emotional feedback from viewers. When we asked in our Facebook group if we should do this movie, multiple people mentioned this scene as one of the scariest things they've ever seen on film. So it stood the test of time.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. According to James Cameron, Linda Hamilton suffered permanent hearing damage in one ear during the elevator shootout because she did not insert her earplugs after removing them between takes.
Oh, God.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was given a Gulfstream 3 airplane by producer Mario Casar for accepting the role in this film. It was slightly used, but it was worth about $14 million at the time.
Wild. And that's when Arnold reduced sanctions on that guy's country.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? There are so many fun facts about this movie. Please go look some up for yourself if you want to. This one I found particularly interesting because I think it would have taken the movie in a very different direction. However, it would have meant that we did not have Robert Patrick's performance, which I do think is one of the most effective pieces of this movie. So I am glad that we got the movie we got, but I would like to pose this thought experiment to you. In the original script, the plan was to cast Michael Biehn, who had played Kyle Reese, as the T-1000.
What?
In a complete reversal of roles, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was now the hero. They did abandon that idea because they believed it to be too confusing for viewers. But what a wild piece of movie that would have been for Sarah's perspective in the movie, because she would probably automatically trust Kyle as opposed to fearing the T-1000. So while, again, I am glad we got the movie we got, Robert Patrick deserves all of the flowers for his performance. I think that would have been fascinating and wild. And those are your fun facts.
That would have been fascinating and wild. And thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think, if you don't already know, the production budget was for Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 1991?
I do already know. It was about $88 million, it looked like, from what I saw.
It was $100 million.
Oh, jeez.
Which is $235.5 million today. Now, guys, the effects does stand up well. I mean, this is a sequel to a big movie that did very well at the box office. I'm not surprised that they spent this much money on it. And listen, when it came out July 5th, 1991, it was number one that weekend. It beat movies like the number 2 movie was The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So the top 3 were all sequels with a colon and then a subtitle. I guess Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves wasn't, but still same title format. Number 4 was City Slickers. Number 5 was Problem Child 2. Like every one of those movies is a movie I've heard of and seen. What do you think Terminator 2 Judgment Day made in its opening weekend, though, Paige?
Ooh, opening weekend, I think, because this is one of the most successful sequels of all time. I think it probably made at least 60 its opening weekend.
Okay, not quite that much. It made $31.7 million. Paige, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you adjust that for inflation, that's $74 million today, almost $75 million today. Now, listen, Paige, this movie was number 1 for the first 4 weeks it was out. Then from week 5 to week 10, so for the next 5 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever that is, it was either 2 or 3. And then in its 11th week, it fell to 4th. In its 12th week, it fell to 5th. And then 20 weeks after it premiered, it was out of theaters. So it was in theaters for a long, long time. And it was really high up in the rankings for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But Paige, what do you think it brought in domestically at the box office in 1991?
I think in 1991, domestically, it brings in about $220.
Oh, you're so close. It's $203.4 million.
But so close.
Now, Paige, it also got released in the rest of the world where it made $311.8 million.
I bet it fucking did, yes.
Yeah. So this movie went on to make $515.3 million. And that's not adjusted for inflation, Paige. That is just cold hard 1991 dollars. If you adjust that for inflation, it's $1.2 billion that this movie made. On again, remember, that would be $100 million in 91. Adjusted was like 235. So it's
Marvel movie money.
Blew through its budget and then some. Yeah, this movie and other movies that James Cameron make around this time are the reason that dude can just do whatever weird shit he wants to do for the rest of his life because he's rich as shit. And it's because he makes good movies. Anyway, Paige, that's your box office. All I'm saying is if James Cameron comes to you and is like, Paige, I have a great idea for a movie. I just need $1,000 and you can be an investor, I'd be like, yes, I'll do that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm getting at least $10,000 back when it comes out.
Yeah, probably. He don't miss.
No, the dude's good. So Paige, you want to hit us with that scary scale?
Sure. Our scary scale is a scale of 1 to 10 of how scary we found the movie today, with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Todd, where are you going to put T2?
It's a 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It's a 1.
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0,
Are you singing in binary? That's how you call a Terminator, Paige. Stop it right now.
Hey, if it's a Kyle Reese Terminator, let's go. But yeah, it would be a 1 for me too.
Paige, you're going to have to get your hip replaced more than once.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a bon time. That's what's up. Anyway.
Gross.
You're welcome. That's our scary scale.
So, Paige, this week, you made us watch Terminator 2. Next week is listener request. And in their infinite wisdom, the listeners picked the following 4 movies for their final 4. The Monkey, Companion, Sinners, and Willy's Wonderland. And as of recording this, Sinners crushed it. It won with 55% of the vote. In second place was The Monkey. And listen, it's my fault, but because I'm not going to be able to see Sinners until it's streaming because of my travel schedule, we're going to give you your number 2 and your number 1 winners of the listener request. So next week, we're actually giving you The Monkey with special guest Mondo Torres, from Cult Podcast. And then the week after that, you're going to get the Sinners episode, guys. So your homework for next week is The Monkey, and then you'll get Sinners the following week.
Hey, do you have any reviews for us, Todd?
I do. This week, I'm going to read a Spotify comment from our most recent Heart Eyes episode.
Hard eyes, motherfucker.
Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of comments on this one. A lot of them are like, yo, I love that Vine. Or like,
I knew it.
People just said their favorite version of it.
Oh, there's so many. There's like 20 in that Vine. I got to find that Vine. I did show you Precious Plum after we recorded that. You're welcome.
Yeah, you did. It was great. Yeah.
My name is Plum and I'm a beauty queen.
Wrong size, motherfucker. That was Kat.
Wrong size, motherfucker.
Kat said that was her favorite one. That Dexter Vine was hilarious. So many of them are also like, do Sinners, please do Sinners.
Oh, yeah. I mean, trust, I've already seen it. I'm going to see it again because I want to see it in 70 millimeter at the Vista. And you have not had a chance to see it yet because you've been traveling so much. I think you're really going to like it. It is. I described it to you and Mikey as Southern Prohibition from dusk till dawn. A little bit of Demon Night sprinkled in there. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, ain't nothing but love for it. I mean, I honestly kind of wondered if the plantation that got set on fire or caught fire today was like a viral marketing for Sinners.
Ooh.
But who knows? Go see Sinners. I haven't seen it. It also might be viral marketing for Django Unchained.
Just viral marketing from God.
Right? But I am going to read this Spotify comment from, and I'm not making this name up, their name is Wow Mom. And they say, perfect timing, as I just saw this on Saturday night when I noticed it was on Netflix, surprised by how much I enjoyed it. And that movie, again, was Hard Eyes, because that was the episode that came out most recently. So, wow, Mom, and also, Kat, thank you so much for your Spotify comments. And if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So guys, if you like this show but want to hear Paige and I talk about romantic comedies or just regular romantic movies, check out our other podcast, some might call it a sister podcast, called Romancing the Pod, where we do just that weekly. It's a lot like this show, but for romance and romantic comedies, because Paige doesn't like them. So we make her watch them, just like you guys make me watch horror over here. But if you want to follow me, I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the social media. Paige is at Rampage Wesley on Instagram?
Yes, and TikTok.
And just Paige Wesley on Twitter, because you got that before some CEO lady and she wanted it, but you wouldn't give it back. And I respect you for that.
Refuse.
Also, Paige
Suck it, other Paige Wesley.
Paige is also on another podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's called Cult Podcast with Armando Torres, who is a wonderful person. And if you want to support this show, go to Patreon at patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where there are a lot of great levels and a lot of great things. We do the Patreon shout outs at the beginning of every episode. We do listener requests, stuff like that, bonus episodes. So you'll be getting all of that content, plus episodes a day early with no ads, and who doesn't love that? So sign up for the Patreon and get a lot of great stuff.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah. Have an amazing week, guys. Bye! This movie slaps nerds. Also, make Paige's Terminator movie. That shit sounds amazing.